What's up, everybody? It is the final day of 31 and 31, and for the final day, I'm watching Trick or Treat. This is probably one of the better anthology movies that there's out there, and one of the reasons why I like it so much is because it's very non-linear, right? Kind of like A Christmas Horror Story, and I would compare that to this, not this to that, please don't get me wrong, but in the way that it tells the stories, even though that one is kind of like piece by piece by piece, where this one, they all really intertwine on that Halloween night. I really enjoyed this film. It has some parts that are a little kind of like slow, maybe it's blasphemous to say, but don't hold up as well. But I really like the creatures in this film when we do get some of the creatures. I mean, we get kind of a little bit of everything, right? We get some slashers, we get werewolves, we get a vampire of sorts, and then of course we get one of the best creatures that have, graced our screen with Sam. And Sam, even though he's kind of just in the movie and he's kind of just all over the place, he is kind of your central character that kind of bounces between all of the different stories and usually is at the end of it. It's a fun time, and it's definitely worth on your Halloween night to watch this movie. I mean, this should be, I think, for most people, if you want to get in the Halloween mood, there's always, there's a ton of movies, there's a ton of classics, and this definitely kind of is up there in that classic, and that if you're trying to pick a movie for Halloween, you cannot go wrong with Trick or Treat. The performances are really good. Some of the effects could be, a little better in some cases, but I think it's also a sign of the times. It's not anything where it's going to distract you and you can't really watch the film, but it's definitely something that, some of the werewolf transformation stuff that's going on is a little, doesn't necessarily hold up for this type of movie, but I like the practical effect of the werewolf. I love the undead kids. The undead kids are fantastic, especially when you get to them towards the end of the movie. It's just, the movie has, even though it gets a little slow, it's got a really good pacing to it, right? That's probably its biggest strength. Other than the stories, they all mesh really well together. They're all different, and you don't have to do this in a, it doesn't have to be a sequential order for a lot of anthology films. I mean, we already looked at one with VHS 84 or 94, I'm sorry. And that one, it had an overarching thing that wasn't the best in the world, but just imagine if that one took the kind of care that this one takes. And again, I'll say this with, I put A Christmas Horror Story in this list too for me, that it's great that all the stories kind of cut in with each other, but this one does it so much better because everything flows together and is brought together really well. Now, what's I find is really funny is that there are a lot of fat kids in this movie, quite a few of them. And as my cousin would say, well, they they don't discriminate, which it's just great, but I was just surprised. I'm like, I don't remember so many fat kids being in this movie. They're all over the place. We even get the fat kid from Bad Santa in the beginning of the movie. And the first story is definitely not for emetophobes. If you don't mind that stuff, then, it's not a problem. But it's pretty bad in the beginning of the movie. It's not super gory. It's got some really good gore effects, though, with broken bones and stuff like that. But, again, the star of the show is Sam, who happens to be also part of the last story. And just what you see when you finally see him, the makeup on that still holds up extremely well, and it looks great. And I found my little, Sam Funko Pop at Spirit. So it's definitely worth it. If you've never seen this before, do yourself a favor. It's available on HBO Max, at least right now, during the spooky season. And if you don't have a movie that you're going to watch tonight for your Halloween, I definitely suggest sitting down, grabbing a bowl of popcorn, turning out the lights, and watching Trick or Treat. So this is it. Thank you guys so much for watching all of these. If you've watched all of them, whether it's been on IGTV or it's been on YouTube, I really appreciate if you took the time to check all of these out. And yeah, that's it for this year's 3131. Don't forget, released yesterday, Victor Crowley, the final podcast of Victor Crowley Ween. Please go check that out if you haven't checked that out already. You know, it means a lot. It's a lot to do all of this stuff for 1 month. And it definitely means to anybody that checks it out, whether you've commented, you've just looked at the videos, even if you've only watched for a couple of seconds or a minute, I still appreciate that you guys took the time to do this. And I hope you guys really enjoyed going down this road. It's been really weird with this year and trying to find ones that actually fit. And definitely, you know, there are 2 movies on this list that are the highlights of everything. I definitely am going to give this, you know, a very solid 4 out of 5 cracked suckers on this one. That it's definitely up there. Then there definitely was a surprise out of this whole thing. Dave Made a Maze was absolutely fantastic. And my second favorite movie, if I have to pick a movie out of everything that I've watched. And there's been a lot of really fun, like, stupid films. There have been some really dumb films. But next year, hopefully, you know, I know that this may not have been as cohesive as it could have been. And really, I felt like I didn't believe I got so bamboozled with these things. But next year's, hopefully, theme will be a lot more cohesive. And I think I know what I'm going to do, but we'll have to find out in a year. So, again, thank you guys so much for watching. And we'll catch you next time on one of these 31 and 31 movie reviews. So, there's definitely more stuff to check out. Don't forget, you know, every other week on Twitch, watch parties. Come join, watch along, make fun of the movies that we're watching. And, yeah, just go on over there, and we'll catch you next time. All right, later.